not another question. It's just part of the question was how much would we be eligible for? Do we know?
You know what, I do, and I didn't bring it with me, and I'm afraid I'm going to misquote. Yeah, I'll give it to
please
Christine.
Don't misquote. So last question for me is, in your estimation in this work so far, the data that has been shared with us by the police department, not clarified, but the numbers are still the same. It appears that after Anaheim has tried to take on this effort through some ordinances with our parks, but also with contributing monies towards a shelter that's going to come online. Why do you believe that homelessness has doubled in Anaheim during this period, and why we seem to have on the river?
Yeah.
Given that we seem to be, we're in the midst of a 10-year.
I think there are several contributing factors. Part of it is that it's complicated. That's not just to get out of the answer, but it is. Part of it is some of the state legislation with Prop 47 and AB 109, trying to, that funding that's going to come on for those services, as I understand it, has only come online recently. So we've had those mandates, as it were, in place without the services. Additionally, it's just unfortunately within our housing market right now. I know that you experience this, all of Orange County experiences trying to find housing in this market. Our housing authority is struggling with one-bedroom units. The homeless population is predominantly single individuals at this time that are showing up in our civic center and on the riverbeds. So I think it's just a perfect storm right now, and the housing is not keeping up with the demand.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Murray.
Thank you. Hello, Julian.
Hi.
Thank you, everybody, for the work that you're doing every day to serve the homeless community. My first question is with regard to this shelter we've approved for Anaheim. It was originally supposed to open in September, and I know there was, I don't know all the details as to why it's been delayed, but the new target date is April. Are the full breadth and scope of services that were originally discussed for that facility going to move forward, as well as the management and security plan, both for the residents and the general public? And do we know if it's on schedule to now open in April?
Yes, we were directed by our board to do it in phases. So we are on task to get it open this spring. Hopefully it'll be April. That will be phase one. We also have an agenda item coming before our Board of Supervisors on March 14th for the authorization for phase two, including the financial authorization and the contracting authorization. So it's a public works item.
So can you just walk us through, both for the residents' benefit and the council's, phase one would be what? And then phase two, what's planned for phase two? And then hopefully phase three isn't far behind.
So phase one is just a scaled down version of the original 200 year-round shelter beds. In order to phase it, we're really only going to get access to part of the property so that we can build on part of the property while we're occupying part of the property. So building and safety code with the number of square feet that we'll have access to is going to have phase one be at a capacity of 100 individuals in that first phase. The management operations and public safety plan, which we went through today with your assistant city manager, the police chief, and the fire chief, is consistent with the original management operations and public safety plan, with some items that were requested to be in phase one, such as the camera system was probably the main difference that we discussed today, and that just had to do with we don't have access to the entire facility at this time, just a limited portion. But the no walk-up policy, bed reservations. Unfortunately, we can't have a full multi-service center, but we will have services on site to engage the residents the best that we can. We can't have the full medical clinic on site because we're in this phase. But that, again, I'm mentioning things that will come in phase 2, but the operations of phase 1 is consistent with the management operations and public safety plan that was adopted.
So then the remaining components will be included in phase 2?
Correct.
And is there an estimated timeline to complete phase 2?
Right. I believe I mentioned it was summer 2018.
Last
Okay.
question. I'm only on 2, honestly.
I think you're on 5. But
No,
go ahead.
I'm on 2 because it was all related to
Right.
this one
All right,
shelter.
I'll let that go.
But there's been questionable record keeping across the board. But, nonetheless, does the county, is the county looking at opening similar facilities countywide? Because Anaheim can't be the only full-service shelter. We need to make sure that facilities of this caliber that are 24/7 are opened countywide.
Yeah, we've been engaging in those discussions. We hope that with the service planning areas that Susan Price has put within the assessment report, and that the ACCOC is convening meetings with by region service providers and cities, that hopefully will continue to foster that discussion and maybe better align those communities, such as the North County communities that did Kramer.
Councilman Crane.
Yes, the ACCOC is being very aggressive. There is 3 different regions. In the north region, obviously, is Anaheim and the northern cities, and they're having a meeting at Gordon Hoyt on March the 6th, and in the morning, and in the afternoon there will be one at Mission Viejo, and I'm not sure of the address. And then later, the third one will be in Mission Viejo later in the week. And what's the middle one? Is it Tustin?
Yes, Newport Beach.
Newport Beach, okay. So in the morning, it's Anaheim. In the evening on the 6th is at Newport Beach. And then a couple of days later, there's a meeting in Mission Viejo. So they are dividing the county into 3 distinct areas. My concern about doing this homeless shelter in Anaheim in phases, first of all, we promised the neighbors that this would be in one fell swoop. And you already said you have $94 million, so it begs the question, you don't have enough money, really? And this is not directed at you, but the Soups. And economy of scale, as you talk to anybody who has built anything, you talk to our public works or our utilities, when you build everything in one phase, you get economy of scales. The contractors are out there, the builders are out there, the workers are out there. And you're going to have people in a homeless shelter trying to get better, and then you're going to be breaking up the ground, having backhoes and all kinds of noise disturbing them. This seems like, and the neighbors are going to go through 2 phases of building this out. When we promised them it would be all done last September, they're going to start coming after us. We'll just stick them down to the supervisors meeting, because I don't want to go through this again that we went through a year or 2 ago, promising them that this will be all-inclusive, a one-time shot.
Councilmember Kring, if I may,